going to punish him in the present for the sins of the past. Cowboys shouldn't win playoff games this year. I don't even know if they should make the playoffs this year. Dak, he missed his window. The Eagles are too dominant right now. They're too dominant for the Cowboys to win the division. They're too dominant for the Cowboys to make it far in the playoffs. The Commanders, now they finally got a quarterback. Like Dak, you had years where the Commanders had nothing and no one, Mr. Window. Now the Giants got Russell Wilson all of a sudden, and I don't even know how good the Giants are going to be, but y'all had years of Daniel Jones. The Cowboys missed their window. I don't expect, nor would I be mad if Dak doesn't make it this year, because this year he should have the year Shady talked about when they've had the Packers and you had a 15-game win streak at home. He sure as heck should have done it then. He should have done it when he had the Niners at home. That's when you should have won your games. But if the Cowboys lose to the Eagles this year, I'm not mad. The Eagles are better than you. You were better than the Packers. You were better than the Niners when you had them at home. You were better than those teams. That's when Dak should have done it. Now, if you don't do it, I'm like.
So then, for you, I like it. It's fine. It's awesome, actually. What's success, though?
To me, success, if I'm just looking at this season, because I believe what Shady and James and everybody's doing is looking at other seasons. If I'm just looking at this season, if the Cowboys win 10 games this year, this year alone, that's success. If you look at the Cowboys roster, if you look at the Cowboys schedule, if you look at the context of the NFC, that's success. New head coach, that's success. Now, if you're factoring in the previous 9 years, of course, I'm with all y'all. But if you're just looking at this year, and I don't know nothing about previous years, and I'm just saying you got a new coach, look at the roster, look at the Eagles, look at the Commanders. If you win 10 games, you did well this year.
But that's when the quarterback got to show up, though, the superstar quarterback. That's when he has to play well. No, like Cincinnati Bengals. Let's say the Cincinnati Bengals. Because I believe the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys are really probably the same. And I really think the Cowboys might be better roster-wise because you got Mike better. Yeah. But just offensively, the defense is going to be weak, we think. But you got Joe Chase. Cowboys. So we're not saying that they're not going to the playoffs. Why? We think they're going to make Burrow. So why can't the quarterback show up and overcome some of this and win some games? We would all argue that
because Burrow's done it with much less. Dak's had like 8 All-Pros. That's why. Because we've seen Burrow do it with much less offensively, whereas Dak is, I think it was 9. 9. Yeah, 9 of them. You know what I'm saying? I think that's probably.
I mean, Dak got MVP. Does Dak got an All-Pro?
Yes, he does. I mean, second team, but that matters.
But Joe don't got none, though. So it means Dak done did a little bit more with a little bit less.
To a Super Bowl. But you would even say but even James
Joe Burrow's had.
If just looking at this season alone, if you want to bring up a Burrow parallel, success for the Bengals would be 10 wins. Like, that'd be successful. Hopefully 10 gets them there. But, like, looking at what the Bengals lack defensively, looking where the Bengals are offensively, success for the Bengals would be 10 wins. Now, when you factor in Joe as Joe, you start doing other things. But success for the Bengals, 10 wins. Success for the Cowboys, 10, 11 wins. If the Cowboys win 13, that would be unfathomable. If the Cowboys go to the playoffs and somehow beat the Eagles in the first round as like the 5 seed versus the 4 seed or the 6 seed versus the 3 seed, that's not even that.
Y'all remind me of my counsel, man. You know I do my counsel twice a week, man. And you guys, it's like you forgive and forget, and I appreciate that. I wish my dating life was like that. I did wrong in relationships, and they never forget.
This is some bullshit.
They never forget because I'm always. You got caught cheating. I'm like, I'm sorry I cheated. I'm sorry, but like y'all just forget. It's like y'all keep talking about that as if like he just. You know what?
For the record, Jay doesn't cheat. He was giving an example. He's never cheated in any relationship. He's giving an example.
But that's not true. No. I've got caught. Problem with y'all.
National TV.
Seriously,
Rachel, I'm a good friend.
That's on TV.
What do we forgive? Because y'all keep talking about this team thing. Team this, team that. Oh, now you got George Pickens. Since I remember this, Brandon Cook's really, really good. Every team he's been on, he's been really, really good. With terrible quarterbacks, with bad quarterbacks that you probably can't even remember. And he did well. So when Brandon Cooks is going to the Cowboys with CeeDee Lamb, with Tony Pollard, and then have Ezekiel be like the aggressive back, the bear back. That's a great situation on the defensive side of things.
Yeah.
Michael Parsons, the Lion, the Beast, Bland. You got Diggs on the outside.
The team was loaded.
For sure. And they had a great kicker if you want to add him in there. Right? And I watched them go. I watched them play the Niners twice in the playoffs. At home, he had a bad clock management. I didn't want to blame him. It was kind of his fault, but cool. I watched him go all the way to San Francisco, playing well. The defense played phenomenal. Yeah. The offense was average like 30 points. They had like 13. And you kept getting all these picks. Yeah. And you guys erased that. Right? So cheated, you forgot about the cheat. Cool. The next year,
Great year. Second MVP voting, Dak Prescott. Number 4.
Streak at
The Cowboys.
home.
17, 16 games win streak at home. You feeling it. Every game around. No, all their money against the Packers with the Cowboys. They lose.
Yeah.
Bro was throwing pick sixes left and right. So a young inexperienced Packers team.
Okay.
First year starter, correct?
All right, I got to respond to some of this. Okay, so true, Brandon Cooks played well most places that he went, but now Brandon Cooks, you don't look at him by the time you get to the Cowboys and say he is like Jamar Chase. Okay, and when you talk about Joe Burrow, the thing that Joe Burrow has had is 2 phenomenal weapons. 2 phenomenal wide receivers to throw to. Sorry, when Dak Prescott's got CeeDee Lamb and Noah Brown, or Jalen Tolbert, or Brandon Cooks, who is a shell of himself, it's not the same. And to say that, you had Tony Pollard and Zeke has been a sub-4 yard per carry running back for the last few years that he played. The last good year he had was 2019, well before Tony Pollard got on the scene. And when we go through on the last year that the Cowboys made the playoffs without Zeke, the Cowboys made a calculated decision that Tony Pollard was going to be our all-weather running back. And quite frankly, the same season that we got out of Rico is what we got from Tony Pollard the year before. And you ended up having Jalen Tolbert is your number 2 wide receiver. Now, this is no disrespect to Jalen Tolbert, because Jalen Tolbert last year led the Dallas Cowboys with touchdown receptions. He is a really good number 3 wide receiver, but he is a number 2. So this whole misnomer that the Cowboys have a loaded team, part of the problem that you have is the Dallas Cowboys being America's team, so to speak, that is always in the news and always on everybody's mind and has more fans than everybody else. The reality is with that machine that they have, a third of the Pro Bowl voting is done by the fans. And the Cowboys market Pro Bowl players better than anybody else. As soon as the list is up, everybody is sharing it and saying, make sure you vote, make sure you vote, make sure you vote. And I think a lot of times we get Pro Bowl players that maybe aren't really the best in the league. And the other part of it is, how many players say, I'm not going to the Pro Bowl because I don't want to go to Jacksonville, and pass on it, and it ends up being players that get picked up because the first 6 said no. So that's kind of where I am with that one. Now, with George Pickens, now Dak Prescott's got 2 legitimate wide receivers. It's going to be hard to say, Dak Prescott, you got to perform. You got to have 30-plus TDs and, 12 or less interceptions with that kind of stuff if the offensive line plays well. And that's going to be the key, is what will this offensive line do? But if our defense is giving up 150 yards on the ground a week, it's kind of hard to deliver on that. And the fact that you've got a whole new coaching staff, sorry, you got to look at it and say, you need some time here. You think about Mike McCarthy's first year, that was a complete disaster. 6-10. It takes some time to implement what you want to do. Anyway, I'm on the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again. I'm on the road. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.